Inquiry are live on both platforms. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session. Today, we are going to be talking about Hey, Ali, what are the critical components brands need in order for them to scale with scientific precision and dominate the market. Today, we are really going to talk about the step-by-step blueprint that I typically follow with majority of all my clients. So if you are a client within our programs, this is a blueprint I am going to walk you guys through, because the reason I really wanted to do this session is to show you the process of building a brand that dominates the market. This is the processes big brands use to grow and scale. And so if you really want to play with the big boys, which is the energy I'm coming in with in 2021, then we definitely have to do this. So if you're joining me live, please let me know here. If you're joining me on replay, let me know as well what are some of your biggest takeaways. But also if you're joining me for the very first time, we're going to spend just a few minutes introducing myself. My name is Maureen Mwangi, and I am a brand growth strategist, but I'm also the CEO and founder of Startwood Consulting, which is a consulting agency that's dedicated to teaching beauty brands the sales and marketing strategies they need to grow and scale with scientific precision so they can turn their beloved product brands into household names. So, what are the components that we need to really think about when you're looking to scale in the market? There are four things. So my framework is based off 4 pillars, and underneath those 4 pillars, there are the 3 accelerators. So it's a 12 accelerator framework that I'm going to walk you through and help you understand why it's important to do these and why it's important to prioritize these as you're growing your business. So first of all, let me demystify or really explain what I typically mean when I talk about scientific precision, right? So when most entrepreneurs hear the word scientific precision or they hear market research, what typically crosses their mind for the very, very first time is that this is boring, awkward conversations or focus groups that don't lead you anywhere. Unfortunately, that is the wrong way to think about market research. It's the wrong way to think about scientific precision. Why do I say this? The difference between what a big brand does and a small brand does is big brands don't guesstimate their way into building brands, while small brands really focus on trial and error and guesstimating as they get into this whole journey of being an entrepreneur, but also this journey of really wanting to dominate the market. And if you really want to dominate the market, scientific precision has to be the backbone of your company. Really leveraging the data you have or you don't have to grow and scale your business will be the determinant of whether you're able to do this well and actually stand out and stay in this thing for the long haul. Even when you're starting, many people ask me, how can I do this? And I'm doing a lot of people ask me, why do you give so much free content? Because I know there are many people who don't have the money to invest in this, and I want you to do it the right way because this has worked. This is something that has been proven. And we tested this with Odette. Odette is one of my clients, runs Maison Juvence right now, and she's quantum leaping in ways I never imagined. And she literally came to me with an idea. Like she literally told me, I remember our sales call very vividly, April 2020. She told me, Maureen, I just want to sell a feel-good factor. And this was the question I asked her. What is the product that you want us to use to sell this feel-good factor? And she mentioned that she has these jars that were going to be sold as jars on the side, but also have candles inside. And pretty much that statement is what she and I use to turn it into what it is today, multi-6-figure business, innovating in ways that you would never imagine for a small emerging company. And she was able to do this because even when we started, the first session we really started, I was like, we are going to have to use the data that you either have from your colleagues, from your friends that are willing to support you in this journey in order for us to create pricing strategies that resonate with your ideal client, in order for us to determine a positioning statement that resonates with your ideal client. And then also lastly, in order for us to create a product and develop a product with the features that matter for your ideal client. That is the first step when it comes to building your brand with scientific precision. And what this means is, number one, you need to find your brand's secret sauce. You need to find your brand's secret sauce. And for those who are joining me, I'm really talking about what are the critical components brands need in order to grow and scale their businesses and dominate the market. So number one is you need to develop your brand secret sauce. What is your brand secret sauce? Your brand secret sauce is pretty much the it factor that helps you determine whether your product is properly positioned, to help you dial in your pricing, and to give you the right distribution strategy so that you can beat the competition. And I say this because many of us online think it's a one size fits all in how we sell. When it comes to distribution, when it comes to selling, I still also want you to honor your capacity and also honor your personality. Why do I say this? Many people may have the desire and the need to want to get into retail. But if your personality isn't a personality that can handle pressure, can handle change, can handle being out of control when things are not going your way, then retail may not be the right platform for you. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to scale your e-commerce business because you're not in retail. Secondly, there are many other ways you can grow your business outside of e-commerce. Why do I say this? E-commerce growth has literally catapulted within the last 10 years. But businesses have always been running before that. And how are they selling? They were selling outside of platforms like online, right? So you also have to understand, where does your personality thrive? Really, where does your personality thrive? And this is so true because one of my clients, she's the CEO of Alti Beauty, came in wanted to launch an e-commerce. Within the first 3 months, we got her launched onto the e-commerce platform. But let me tell you, my friend, she despised it. Why? Because her personality thrives outside of e-commerce. And the minute she really identified that, hey, being on e-commerce doesn't excite me, she decided, hey, I'm going to take this same business out within the local market, get into spas, into boutiques, into home channels, other collaborations to still get my brand out there. And honey, she did that. She did that, got a return of investment in the program. Once she got the return of investment in the program, really got into the mid 50K within the first year of being a brand new business. And she did this without really focusing on being on e-commerce platforms. That is why identifying the right distribution strategy is important for you. But also, I'm going to do something very exciting for you guys, because I want you guys to evaluate yourself. I want you guys to evaluate yourself across these accelerators I'm going to talk about, because I want you to identify what your gaps are. So this is how I want us to do it. I'm going to talk about, now I talked about product. Have you designed a product with the right features that matter? We're going to do a traffic light system. We're going to have a green, a yellow, and a red. Grab a piece of paper. If you're driving, just listen to this, come back and do it in replay. If you're listening to me on your phone, just whatever you have right now, just grab a piece of paper and go alongside with me. So when it comes to product, have you designed a product with the features that matter? If you're killing it, if you feel like, yep, killed it, I have the right product, give yourself a green. If you feel like, I think I have some opportunity for growth, give yourself an orange. If you feel like, you know what, I'm crushing and burning, give yourself a red. At the end of this session, you're going to have 12 different colors. Those 12 different colors will be an indicator of whether you have the blueprint to scale your business. This is, and I want you to save this. I want you to share this with any e-commerce brand. Why do I passionately share this information? Because many of us are guesstimating our way into success. Some of us make it, some of us don't. Those who don't make it, you've spent, sorry for cussing, you spent a lot of money trying to figure this thing out, money that you potentially may not have, or time that you also potentially don't have because you're probably juggling either being a mother or you're juggling a corporate job. So when it comes to product, give yourself a green if you've designed a feature, a product with the features that matter, so you're feeling like, yep, I've killed it. Orange if you're like, opportunity for growth. Red if you're crashing and burning. When it comes to pricing, does your current pricing build all your costs into the price, all the costs that you incur to bring your product to life? And does it leave plenty of cash in your business? So do you have the right price that builds in all the costs incurred to make your product, but still leaves cash flow in your business? Give yourself a red if you're killing, give yourself a green if you're killing it. Give yourself an orange if you're opportunity for growth. Give yourself a red if you're crashing and burning. If you have no cash in your business, feeling like you're constantly on a hamster wheel, indicator right there is pricing. So with that, you're not going to be able to beat the market and have competitive advantage. Lastly, within finding your brand secret sauce, I want to talk about positioning. Can you explain to your customers why they should choose your product over your competitor? Do you have the ability to explain to your customer why they should choose you over your competition? Give yourself a green if you're killing it. Give yourself an orange if you have some opportunity for growth. And give yourself a red if you're crashing and burning. Those are the three things underneath finding your brand secret sauce that will help you determine if you are ready to beat the market with a competitive advantage. The second thing every e-commerce brand needs is really what I call building a brand with obsession. And how I want to bring this to life is, I want you to think about brands like Peloton, think about brands like Fenty, think about brands like Kylie Cosmetics. What is it that those brands have? What is it that those brands have? Think about brands like Drunk Elephant. Think of brands like NARS. Think of brands like Bobbi Brown, Dior. What is it that those brands have? And you can comment in the chat, let me know. Just comment in the chat and let me know. What is it that brand like Peloton, Kylie Cosmetics has, Lululemon, NARS, Drunk Elephant, Dior, Bobbi Brown, you name it. All the things we see on Ulta and Sephora, or outside of that, outside of the skincare category. What is it that those brands have? I'm going to sip some coffee here. To me, one thing I know they have, and they have they have, is obsession. And what does obsession mean? People always like it. Look, I don't want to use this word, but I'm just going to put it in quotation, like a cult-like feel, like people are so magnetized to those brands, want to be part of it, willing to try, willing to invest, whether it works or it doesn't work. Why is obsession such an important factor? An obsession is an important factor because it is what helps you acquire great customers, but more importantly, generate repeat sales. And when you start generating repeat sales, you start reeling in the right customers that help you become a new household name. So you're able to dominate your ecosphere. People are talking about you when you're not there. And this can happen at any level. Why do I say this? This weekend, I went to brunch with one of my friends. And she was like, Maureen, what are you doing to your skin? Because your skin is glowing. I'm like, honey, last year I went on this spree where I decided I was going to find a product that works for my face. Because my face is something I will take care of. I could care less about my hair. And then I told her, like, I went to Sephora like four times last year, bought majority of the brands, didn't work for me, didn't give me the glow that I wanted. And then I started working with Vipal, the CEO of EO Healing, dropping her name right here. If you want skincare that works, this is exactly what happened. So I invested in her product line, and within 3 months, my skin changed. I was a person who was like, you know what, I'm just going to do a 3-step skincare process. But right now, I have a 5-step skincare process in the morning and in the evening. Why? Because her process works like magic. And you can go check her Instagram. It's EO Healing. Say Maureen sent you. She's probably on this live. And now, when everybody asks me, what are you doing to your skin? What do I tell them? I tell them that Vipal is a person that is helping me. That is what a good brand that has really focused on obsession. That's what that's the indicator that EO Healing has really understood the concept of building obsession around her brand. And it's not only the product, it's even how she delivers the services. It's even how she follows up. Like you're constantly feeling like you're a premium client. So even when I spend, depending on my skincare routine, that even when I spend $100, it's $100 that feels like, hey, it's worth it. That's the obsession that we really need to start thinking about when it comes to building a brand that scales and dominates the market. And so within that, what are the 3 accelerators underneath? It's messaging. The first thing is messaging. We really need to start thinking about, are you putting messaging out there that really speaks to your customer at a deeper level, that really triggers their emotions in order to really spark them to purchase? Are your customers constantly like, are you in my brain? If you're not getting conversations like, hey, I just saw this post that you put and I felt like you're in my brain, then your messaging really isn't connecting. So that's the number 1 accelerator is when you put your marketing out there, are you getting waves of sales, or are your customers constantly saying, are you in my brain? Give yourself a green if you're killing with this. Give yourself an orange if you have an opportunity for growth. And then give yourself a red if you're crashing and burning. Then the second thing within the building a brand with obsession is brand DNA. Have you really focused on understanding what your brand DNA is? If you want a deeper explanation of what a brand DNA, I did a podcast episode. The podcast is titled "Simple Elements to Think About When You're Building Your Brand." Please go to the Product Entrepreneur podcast and catch this. My team, you can also direct them to what the episode is in the comments. Because when it comes to a brand DNA, what I really want you to ask yourself here is, can your ideal customer see themselves in your messaging and in your story? Can your ideal customer see themselves in your messaging or in your story? If they can, green, yep, you're killing it. Orange, if you have some opportunity for growth. And red, if you're crashing and burning and you need some help. Because this is what creates that magnetism. This is what creates that obsession. And then the last thing is your irresistibility. What does that look like? Are you getting raving reviews on your product from your customer? Are you getting raving reviews on your product from your customer? If you're getting raving reviews, give yourself a green. Yep, you're killing it. Give yourself an orange if you have an opportunity for growth. And give yourself a red if you're crashing and burning and you need help. That's the second pillar within that you need to focus on when you're building a brand that dominates the market and that will allow you to scale. Because now the third thing, now I hope you're seeing that, honey, you should not have paid your graphic designer. I hope you now see that, hey, I should not have paid my graphic designer. It wasn't the right time for my graphic designer to whip up their Mac laptop and create some logos and packaging for you. Why? Because if you don't have this clarity that I'm talking about with the first 2 pillars, you end up getting an output that is highly subpar And what does that make you think about? That you have an issue with your packaging, you have an issue with your colors, you have an issue with your website, and then you're constantly spinning in this cycle of trying to get your website sorted, your colors sorted, everything, and then you're just stuck. Because this is why I do what I do, because my goal is to show people that there is so much that goes into branding that is not spoken about in the market. Why? Because I spent years with the big brands understanding why they do, how they do what they do, and why they do what they do. Because at the end of the day, branding is the reason people pick your product over all the multitude of options they have. Because, honey, you're not operating in a silo. Every market is saturated, but that's a sure indicator that there is money in that category. So when it comes to this, in this particular pillar underneath giving your brand some sex appeal or giving your brand some it factor, some elevation, I really want you to understand the value of having visuals that can stand the test of time. The value of really understanding the foundational elements that go into brand identity. Why? Because you have to remember this. People attach your brand to either a certain physical aspect or an emotional aspect. As you're growing and scaling your business, a lot of times it's usually the physical aspect. Then it becomes the emotional aspect. So when you're doing design and then you're constantly, let's say you started with green as your primary color, then you've gone to market, you've been into market with this green color for a period of 3 to 4 years. Then all of a sudden, you change that green color to something like purple. What happens? Your customer gets confused. Why? Because initially your identity, your brand identity was, your customer used the color green to denote your brand identity. So every time, like if you're on social media and you're constantly using the green, then you change your colors, people are like, what the hell is going on? This is the concept I often call memory structure. What does memory structure mean? Memory structure means that as consumers, we attach a certain aspect to a brand. So think about Coca-Cola. There is a reason the Coca-Cola bottle has never changed and it will never change. Why? Because we as consumers are so used to that shape hourglass of the bottle. I want to even go back to, now that I'm on Instagram, Instagram has elevated the colors of the Instagram logo. Like it's now a little bit brighter. But they've never changed the base. The color that they have now, the logo and the shape that they have now has stayed the same. Same thing to Starbucks. Starbucks has kept their colors, their everything around them the same over a period of time. Because whenever people see this, they remember Starbucks. Now, for us small businesses, when things don't work, we quickly change either the color, we change the logo because we don't have an understanding of the visual foundation. And when you change that, you compromise the equity of your brand and you have to retrain your audience again. That is why it is so important to really understand the psychology that goes into identifying the colors, identifying the perception, identifying the emotion that you want your brand to evoke over a period of time. This is not a one-hit wonder kind of thing. This is a thing that you have to get in and know that I'm doing this for a period of time, because that is when the longer you are in the market, the more your customer starts associating whatever elements you have to your brand. So within this pillar, the 3 other accelerators. Number 1, distinctive assets. Do you think your brand's visual assets can actually last 5 years or more? This goes to piggyback on the example I gave. Starbucks has not changed its identity. Instagram has not changed what they do. They end up elevating, but the core premise of the logo and the color stays the same. So when you look at your visuals right now, do you think your brand's visuals or assets can actually last 5 years or more? If yes, give yourself a green. If orange, feeling like opportunity for growth, if you're feeling like there's an opportunity for growth, give yourself an orange. And if you feel like you're crashing and burning and you need help, give yourself a red. I'm hoping by right now you have 7 different colors. The second accelerator within giving your brand sex appeal is your graphics. Do you feel like your current brand mood perfectly captures the look and feel you've ultimately desired? Like, are you literally digging it? If you're not digging it, give yourself a red. If you feel like there's an opportunity for growth, give yourself an orange. If you're feeling like, yep, you're killing it, give yourself a green. And then lastly, when it comes to your packaging, can you confidently display your packaging, your current product's packaging at Sephora, Ulta, Target, or any big box retailer? If you don't feel like you can display your product packaging, give yourself a red. You need help crashing and burning, give yourself an orange if you feel like there's an opportunity for growth, and lastly, give yourself a green if you're killing it. That's the third accelerator, which is all about giving your brand sex appeal, because once you give your brand sex appeal, you're literally able to win over the hearts and the wallets of your ideal customer. And this helps them think of you when they're ready to buy, and then they come back and buy from you consistently. And then lastly, now I want to talk about the sales, right? This is a framework. For you to literally become a brand that dominates, all these foundational elements have to be in place, because now when you're coming to sell, what I typically call about maximizing sales the big brand way, you can now really focus on the elements that allow you to sell organically before thinking about complicated marketing strategies, before thinking about paid ads, before thinking about paying the next best influencer, before thinking about all the things that many people think about. Because when it comes to maximizing your sales, this is the strategic part of it. Because if you're moving from growth to scale, it tells me what you've been doing what you've done right now has worked tremendously well. So what you need to do is to optimize what's currently working, tighten it up, then you'll start scaling. Because the biggest mistake any entrepreneur in growth phase does is changing their strategy. Every time you change your strategy, remember you're constantly going to be starting from scratch. Every time you pick a new channel, every time you pick a new advertising platform, every time you change your messaging, every time you add an added product, doing things without strategically thinking about, you're starting again. Why? Because you're going to focus your efforts and assessing the effectiveness of this strategy to determine whether you can amplify the results. When you do that, you dilute the efforts that you'd already made when you were growing your business. That's why that's why many of them in this stage actually feel like they're a happy accident. Why? Because you got in, all you really wanted to do, I know you guys, my friend, all you wanted to do is to just have a product that either solves your niece's problem, your parents' problem, just people around you. Then it worked. And you're like, holy crap, what do I do? Now you quickly go and run to YouTube University, quickly go and stumble on my podcast or my live stream, and you're like, Maureen said this. Then you go and do it without knowing how to do it. If you do it wrong, everything blows up and you stay stuck. This is the stage many people get stuck at. Why? Because they're not looking at the data that they currently have, and secondly, because the market has so much noise and they're not able to identify and understand what is actually right for their business versus what is actually noise and things they should not be looking at. So when it comes to maximizing sales the big brand way, why this is important for me, and I preach this over and over again, and I will continue preaching this. Big brands do not build brands through being reactive. They build brands through being proactive. They have to promise, and they promise investors a certain amount of cash every single quarter. So everything they do, there is precision, and this precision and this pre-planning is available for you. The reason why you don't have it right now is that you haven't understood what levers you need to pull for your brand. And there are three ways to grow your product-based business: get more customers, increase your price, the price of every order they get, increase the price of your average order value, and lastly, get your customers to buy frequently. But these three levers cannot be pulled at the same time. I'm going to say that again. Just because I've said it on camera, this is not the time I'm telling you to go and change. These three levers cannot be pulled at the same time. Each lever has its own strategy and has its own time for each to actually work. So what are the three accelerators within maximizing maximizing the sales a big brand way? Number one, placement. What can you clearly identify where the new growth opportunities are for your brand? Right now, can you clearly identify where the new growth opportunities are for your brand? If yes, give yourself a green. If orange, and if there's room for growth, give yourself an orange. If you cannot do this, give yourself a red for the placement. The second thing, it's a term that is used in brand growth: penetration. Let me explain what this means. What this means is every brand is a leaky bucket. Every brand is a leaky bucket, whether you're small or you're big. What does that mean? Let me give you the example of this. Think about a bucket that has holes. And this bucket, water is flowing in. So if water is flowing in, there's some water that remains inside the bucket, and there's some water that leaves the bucket. That water is a symbol of your customers. What that means in technical terms, brands have a mix of light buyers and heavy buyers. Light buyers are synonymous to people who come and buy you once. Heavy buyers are synonymous to people who come and buy you over and over and over again. So the job of every CEO who has a physical product is to make sure they're reducing the churn that happens. The churn meaning the people that leave your brand. And how can you do that? You have to have an acquisition strategy, you have to have a retention strategy, and you have to have a reclaiming strategy. Those are the core three. When you're growing and scaling, you need to have another strategy that helps you acquire a different type of audience. And I'm going to use the example of Maison Juvons, Odette Shelley. Please go and check her website. She started her business. This is a clear indication of how a client can take this concept, apply it into their business, and see the results. This is me showing you what is available if you bet on yourself and really stop staying stuck in decisiveness and in fear. She started her business with this. And candles, because that was the feel-good factor that I turned an idea into profits and multiple profits. We both turned it together, guided her as a brand growth advisor. Now, what has she done? She's introduced a new complementary product to her brand idea and her brand positioning. She's introduced robes. These robes are not going to cannibalize what she currently has. This is something she was able to identify because she had this level of awareness. What would other people have done? Other people, and I can put money down, would probably have gone and either launched a different size of candle, expanded their scent portfolio, or done things within the realm of this jar or within the candle. Why? And when you do that, what happens? People who used to buy the initial product, stop buying you, go back to the new products, and then eventually over time, your sales become diluted. Then over time, it becomes hard to scale. That is the power of understanding how to grow your brand so that you can learn the strategic levers you need to pull at each stage of growth, rather than doing too many things at the same time. So going back to penetration, I just wanted to help you understand that concept because it can easily be misconstrued, because that accelerator is what helps you predict the sales and the profits you will make months in advance. Because now you have, when you're analyzing your numbers, you're able to look at, this is my baseline product revenue. These are my additional seasonal items which bring incremental sales. Now, this is my product line. Okay, these are the baseline sales I get from current customers. These are the sales I get from the retain. These are the sales I get from a new customer. These are the sales I get from a retained customer. Now, what is my opportunity if I needed to go and get my old customers to come back? And whatever that opportunity is will either be an indication of whether you need to create a new product or you need to have a new promotional strategy to bring them back. Because every business should have that level of sales projection. That is, and if you're not able to do that, then it means that you're constantly in a hamster wheel, reacting every single month, wondering where the next sales are coming from. And most of my clients, and I know they're on this live, they know what lever they need to pull if they want to make a quick 5K, 10K next month. They know that. And if they're not able to do that, they know why they're not able to do that. This is something we're very open and candid about. It's a high-level program, high-level investment, high level of attention to detail. Because I know if I can equip them to do this, in a matter of 15 months, they're CEOs, and you're going to hear a few of them tomorrow, on Wednesday. They know what lever they need to pull. And this is the accuracy. So if you don't know how to predict the sales you're going to have in the next 12 months, then give yourself a red, because you definitely need some help. Give yourself an orange if you feel like there's an opportunity for growth that just needs some optimization. And if you know how to do this and you're killing it, give yourself a green. And then lastly, when it comes to maximizing sales, the big brand way, it's profitability. Do you have a sales strategy that retains customers and reduces churn? I just literally explained this before. Do you have a sales strategy that retains customers and reduces churn? If you do, give yourself a green, you're killing it. If you feel like opportunity for growth, give yourself an orange. And if you need help, give yourself a red. Why? Sorry, my Instagram phone doesn't have chat. Why? Because now you should have 12 different colors. 12 different colors. Some are green, some are orange, some are red. Whatever the reds and the oranges are the gaps that you have in your business that you need to work on in order for you to scale and begin to dominate your own market. And right now, my biggest ask for everyone who's catching this live or catching this on replay is, what are the 3 gaps that you have? What are really the 3 gaps that you have? And what do you think is the next right thing for you to prioritize? Because you're probably going to see 6, 7 colors that need to be worked on, but you cannot do this all at once. You need to prioritize which of these gaps do I need to do so that I can get the sales that I want. And if you're brave enough, I'm very active on my DMs, like I respond to DMs. Send them over to me. Send me your top three things that you need to work on, and let's discuss. I'm honestly always in my DMs, so I do respond. I'm not saying this just for the sake of saying. Send me a DM on Instagram. Send me a DM on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Maureen Monty. Because this is what you need to work on in order to scale. This is the difference between building a brand by trial and error and building a brand with scientific precision. And if you're tired of spinning, if you're tired of holding on to the next very thing, if you're tired of figuring it out, enrollment to the Product Profit Lab, which is our accelerator that teaches people these 4 pillars. And within those 4 pillars, we have 12 accelerators. Teaches all my students how to work on each of these accelerators and what to do to get to the next level revenue leap. This framework, I know over and over again, and my students have said this, gets you to where you want to be. It's worked, it's proven, we've repeated it over and over again. And if it doesn't work, it's typically as a result of people taking a little longer to really catch up into this whole personal growth that happens in entrepreneurship. It has nothing to do with the framework. It has more to do with the person you're becoming through this journey. And if you're interested in learning how to use the data you already have to grow and scale your business, I invite you to book a call with me. Book a call with me. Enrollment closes on Friday, February the 4th. Book a call with me. Let's get to chat. If you don't find a slot this week, but still, I'm going to be taking most of the calls next week. Let's chat and give you the strategy you need to use to change your business direction in 2022. And I say this because many of the people who end up killing it, because our top buying season for every product-based business for my people is Q3 and Q4. And if you spend Q1 and Q2 doing the right thing, Q3 and Q4 becomes where you walk to the bank. And tomorrow you're going to hear from Jackie and Anne-Maria. They're going to come and literally, this is exactly what they told me. We had a call last week. Q4 is what held their business. Why? Because they spent time, they challenged themselves to really understand this blueprint, and not only understanding this blueprint, but also implementing. Because this is the thing I say, my friends, and I've said it over and over again, I will never stop saying it. Knowing what to do and not doing it is just as good as not knowing it. Knowing what to do and not doing it is just as good as not knowing it. Why? Because many of us have this habit of saying, I know what I need to do. Honey, if you knew what you need to do, your business would have changed. And I know I'm passionate about this thing because for you to create what you truly want to create, you have to become a different person. And becoming a different person only happens when you implement. Because I can tell you everything under the sun. You can send me DMs and tell me, Maureen, how do I position my brand? I can tell you. The question is, are you going to implement? Because, honey, implementing pushes you to become somebody totally different. Walking into a retail store and pitching your product, you have to be somebody very different. And I remember very clearly, Shalom, one of our clients last year said this. Before she came to the Product Profit Lab, she was very scared, didn't have the confidence that she could deliver an order as big as $10,000. 3 weeks later, comes in, Karagezi does her magic. God bless your soul, Karagezi, for really holding my clients and weeding out the obstacles that come in as they build their brand. Came in, walked her through the concept of confidence versus self-confidence, had one client refer her to a huge account. She was confidently able to sit in the meeting, sell her product, and walk away with an over $50,000 deal for her products. This happened in a span of 6 weeks, and she said it. It's in a video in my Facebook group. She had not had the confidence around her positioning, around who she is, around her offer. Understanding this accelerator, she would have missed that deal. This is how being indecisive, being fearful of both success and failure blocks you from the desire that you want. And I'm giving you the invitation. It is scary, honey. It is scary to invest in yourself. I invested in myself, and I remember the very first time I invested, I cried. I literally cried. I sat in my couch in my office right across me because I never made an investment of that amount. But trust me, that is history. If I didn't make that investment, whatever you're seeing, my programs, my podcast, my Instagram would be non-existent. Why? Because I could not have done it myself. I knew what needed to be done. I knew I needed funnels. I knew I needed to do live Instagram, but I was not doing it. I wasn't implementing. I wasn't becoming who I needed to become. And everything I'm sharing right now, I promise, and I keep telling God, I am not going to come online and teach something I have not practiced or I have not understood, because I'm not here to lie to people. I am here to give people the blueprint and the strategy they need to grow and scale their business. Why? Because I'm a product of a small business owner. And I know if you don't have this, a lot hinges on you. If you do not have this strategy, a lot hinges on you. Not only your family, your extended family, could be anybody. And that is why I'm very passionate about what I do and why I do it. And I want to work with entrepreneurs who have this level of passion. If you're a badass like me, if you're ready to take the world by storm, and if you don't want to guesstimate your way through this thing, you want to scale your business with scientific precision, then I highly invite you, just book that call with me. Give yourself an opportunity to chat with me. You're going to know the gaps that you have. You're going to have the clarity on what you need to know. Even if you don't invest, you have the clarity of what you need to do. That is just free value. And then now the question is, are you willing to move over the self-doubt and become the person that performs and bets on themselves even when doubt exists? That's the person I want to work with. And if that is you, click on the link in my bio and let's chat. All right, my friends, tomorrow I will be here same time. I'm going to be bringing my amazing clients. So it's going to be a fantastic dialogue because I want you to see where they are right now and where they were before. Because this success is available to each and every one of you. If it was available to me, if it is available to me, it is available to you. And I'm not saying that just to say it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll see you guys on Thursday as well. Have a good night, day, afternoon, depending on what part of the world you are. If you're watching on replay and you want to send me a DM, absolutely do it. See you soon. Bye, my friends.